Let's go ahead and try this one and see. Hey everybody, here we go. Now, I think every bookstore and library has a shelf like this filled with James Patterson books. But I used to get really annoyed about how many books James Patterson and his co-authors put out every year. You know, I've written articles saying that thing's a scam. I've put up book reviews that make fun of how bad his writing is. And I've even written jokes that make fun of James Patterson's writing style. Best James Patterson jokes ever. I mean, they might be the only James Patterson jokes out there, but you know, I still wrote them. Now this video, I'm not making this video to prove that James Patterson's a hack writer who I think is scamming people. And if you're watching this video, you probably already think that, or you might already think that. And if you don't know why people think he's a bad writer, I mean, I'm not the only person who thinks this. There are other blog posts and videos and articles out there. I don't want to sound like a book snob by bashing James Patterson all the time. If I see somebody reading a James Patterson book, I'm not going to slap the book out of his or her hands and berate the guy. What are you doing? Why are you reading this trash? This is horrible. And it's not that people who read James Patterson books are stupid or they can't read or anything like that. You know, I don't like that attitude where, oh, they're stupid, they're sheeple, I'm so much smarter than they are. You know, I don't like that attitude. This has nothing, I don't think this has anything to do with intelligence. I know a couple really smart people who read James Patterson books, but they don't read a lot of literature. They're more like the math science types. When they read for entertainment, they don't spend a lot of time thinking about what they're going to read. They don't wander around the bookstore or the library like I do for an hour. You know, they just grab a book and go. To me, it's kind of like my boring wardrobe. I don't like thinking about the clothes I'm going to wear. I just grab the same clothes every day and put them on. And, you know, as long as it's clean and it kind of fits, I wear it. And the James Patterson reader, and this is just my theory, just grabs a book and goes. They read it for fun. And then they go and they teach that physics class, or then they go and perform the brain surgery or pilot the plane. They don't hyper criticize books like I do sometimes. And I respect that because I've wasted a lot of my time wandering around bookstores and libraries. And so this is where I think the scam, what I call a scam, comes in. James Patterson and his publisher and the co-authors have figured out that as long as Patterson has one or two bestsellers out at the same time, people will keep buying his books. And as long as the books are new, one or two of his books will always be displayed by the interest of the bookstore. You see, that's the first thing that the casual book buyer sees are the current bookstore or the current bestsellers when they walk in the store. And the challenge is that Patterson by himself can't write books quickly enough to always have a book on the bestsellers list. So his books become bestsellers, and this for there's a lot of publicity that goes into his books. There's bookstore cooperation, whatever, for whatever reasons, but they start off on the bestsellers list, but they don't stay up there for very long. If you follow his books, about 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, after that time, his book sales crater really fast. And there are a few exceptions, like the book he wrote with Bill Clinton. The indiscriminate reader, like I said, doesn't put a lot of thought into what he or she reads, and they'll likely pick up one of the first few books that they see. And sure enough, when you walk into a bookstore, there are always 1 or 2 or 3 James Patterson books right up there at the front. Now, most famous authors, you know, Stephen King or John Grisham, or those are the names that come to mind. Most of those famous authors write only 1 book a year or something like that. So their books might not stay at the front of the store for a long time. But James Patterson and the co-authors, together they put out about 1 book a month. It seems like it's at least once a month. And that's why he has the co-authors. So he can keep churning out new books that can be at the front of the store for a few weeks while his co-authors write another one. And that's why so many people read James Patterson books. Now this used to really bother me, but I resolved a while back to stop reviewing his books and stop complaining about them. Everybody knows that they suck. The books aren't very good. Nobody cares. And he's benefiting from what I think is a scam, but he's not doing anything illegal. I mean, I don't think he is. It might be unethical, but even if it is unethical, I don't have to participate in it. So I can just ignore it or buy other books and do my own thing. It doesn't really affect me. Now, complaining about James Patterson to people who read his books doesn't do anything, except maybe it makes me look like a prick. And I do think it would be kind of funny if a bunch of other better authors did this too, like Stephen King and John Grisham. If they all got co-authors and wrote 1 book a month and then diluted his audience but I don't know if they would want to look like hacks like him. So anyways, I think I understand the James Patterson reader and also the system that takes advantage of those readers. And I'll still occasionally review a book of his if it's noteworthy in some way, but I don't want to be negative about it anymore. He's not living inside my head, man. I swear it. So let me know what you think. Do you think James Patterson's actually a good writer? Or are you one of those people? I'm just kidding. And why do you think so many people read James Patterson's books?